All right, picture this. I'm out in the ass end of nowhere, that stretch of Nevada desert that God forgot to finish. The sun's beating down so hard the asphalt's gone soft and sticky. My rig, the behemoth, is sucking down diesel and spitting out miles, but the AC is fighting a losing battle. It's just blowing hot air with attitude. My gut's roaring for a burger, not one of them fancy ones. I'm talking a greasy, two-patty, cheese-melting down your arm kind of masterpiece. The world is simple. Me, my truck, and the long shimmering blacktop ahead. Then I see her, a flicker of green on the side of the road. At first I figure my eyes are playing tricks, maybe a weird Joshua tree or some artsy-fartsy sculpture someone dumped. But then the flicker gets a thumb out, a very delicate, very female thumb. I ease my foot off the gas, leaning forward, squinting through the heat haze. It's a woman wearing... hell, it looks like she's wearing a damn salad. This is either heat stroke, or my day is about to get a whole lot weirder. The world goes quiet except for the deafening hiss of my air brakes. It's a sound I love. The sound of 80,000 pounds of American steel coming to a controlled, powerful halt. 18 wheels come to a stop, kicking up a cloud of dust that smells like baked earth and loneliness. I lean over the passenger seat, a space usually reserved for crinkled maps, empty coffee cups, and beef jerky wrappers, and crank the window down. The handle groans in protest. A wall of heat hits me in the face like a physical blow, so dry and intense it feels like it's sucking the spit right out of my mouth. She's standing there, maybe 30 feet away, frozen in the shimmering waves rising off the pavement, and my brain just stalls out. This ain't no mirage. This is a 5'7" bottle of trouble wearing a goddamn fairy costume. And brother, what a costume. It's a little tunic thing, the color of new spring leaves, made of some kind of soft-looking suede that probably costs more than my last set of tires. It's laced up the front with a leather cord, and the laces are pulling just enough to hint at the curves underneath. It stops so damn high on her thighs it's less of a piece of clothing and more of a dare, a personal invitation to look, and I'm looking. Lord, am I looking. Below that, it's just legs, miles of them, tanned, toned legs that have clearly seen more action than a truck stop parking lot on a Friday night. They disappear into these knee-high leather boots that look like they've seen some action, too. They're scuffed and worn in all the right places, molded to her calves like a second skin. A leather belt with a little pouch sits low on her hips, drawing my eyes right to the sway of them. She's got a fake bow and an empty quiver slung over her shoulder, which is weird, but hell, I'm not going to judge a woman's accessories. But that's not the part that's making my brain do backflips. It's the ears. They're long, delicate, and pointed, sticking right out of a waterfall of hair so blonde it's almost white. It shimmers in the brutal sun like spun platinum, a stark contrast to the dusty brown of the desert around her. My first thought is, she's one of them aliens from the TV. My second thought, hot on its heels, is, I hope they're all built like that. My third thought is that I'm an idiot for stopping, and my fourth is that I'd be a bigger idiot if I didn't. Need a lift, darlin'? I yell, my voice sounding like a rock slide in the dead silence of the desert. It's a voice roughened by too many cigarettes and too much yelling over the roar of a Cummins engine. She turns, and the face that goes with the body just about knocks the wind out of me. Huge eyes the color of jade, like deep, cool forest pools, a dusting of freckles across a nose that turns up just a little at the end, giving her a look of perpetual mischief, and a smile that could probably jump-start a dead battery and convince a state trooper to rip up a ticket. She doesn't walk toward the truck. She glides. It's like her boots are floating an inch above the scorching pavement. There's a grace to her movements that's completely out of place on the shoulder of a grimy highway. "Greetings, noble giant," she says, her voice like ice cubes clinking in a glass of sweet tea on a hot porch. It's clear, musical, and carries easily through the thick, hot air. Your arrival is most fortunate. I feared I was to perish in this sun-scorched purgatory. I'm just gawking. I can't help it. My usual smooth-talking trucker charm, the one that's gotten me more free cups of coffee and flirtatious smiles than I can count, has packed its bags, bought a bus ticket, and left the building. Purgatory? Honey, this is God's country. So, what's the deal with the get-up? Renaissance fair go wrong? She tilts her head, a motion that's fluid and almost bird-like, and the pointy ears give a little twitch. It's mesmerizing. I can't tell if they're real or the best damn prosthetics I've ever seen. I am unfamiliar with this fair. I am Luna, a scout of the Whisperwood. My party was ambushed by foul goblins near the Citadel of Vice. Citadel of Vice? She means Vegas. Goblins. She means, hell, I don't know, probably some dudes in cheap monster masks. Maybe some bikers who didn't like her parking job. She's saying all this with a dead straight face, not a hint of a joke, her jade eyes wide and sincere. This broad is either an Oscar-worthy actress, or she's got a few kangaroos loose in the top paddock. Either way, she's a knockout, and it's 110 degrees in the shade, and my cab is the only shade for miles. Right. Goblins, I say, deciding to just roll with it. There's no point in arguing with a woman this beautiful, especially when she's talking crazy. It never ends well. Can't have that. Hop in. Can't leave a pretty, scout to the goblins. Her smile gets wider, showing a flash of perfect white teeth. My gratitude, good sir. Your steed is truly colossal. Are you by chance a dwarf lord from the mountain kingdoms? A huge, booming laugh rips out of my chest, shaking the whole cab and probably scaring every lizard in 100-yard radius. Dwarf lord, sweetheart, I'm a cheeseburger lord from Toledo, Ohio, and this ain't a steed, it's a Peterbilt. Now get your pointy-eared self in here before you melt into the road. Watching her climb into the rig is a feature presentation, a master class in female anatomy in motion. It's a long way up for a normal person, let alone a woodland elf. She puts one booted foot on the first step, and that little suede tunic rides up, giving me a front-row seat to the promised land. I'm talking a view of tanned, firm thigh that should be illegal in at least 48 states. My mouth goes dry. She grabs the handle, and every muscle in her body goes taut as she pulls herself up. This ain't some fragile little thing. She's got strength in those arms and legs. She's lean and powerful, like a goddamn cheetah. She finally swings into the passenger seat, landing with a soft sigh and the squeak of well-worn leather against the cracked vinyl of my seat. The door slams shut, cutting off the oppressive desert heat and the high-pitched whine of the cicadas. The world inside the cab shrinks. 2 seconds ago, this was my rolling palace, my kingdom of the road. Now it's a 2-person lifeboat, and we're adrift in a sea of sexual tension. The air itself changes. The familiar comforting smell of diesel, stale coffee, and the pine tree air freshener swinging from my mirror is suddenly invaded, conquered by something else. It's her. A scent of something wild and sweet, like crushed wildflowers and ozone after a lightning strike. It's clean and earthy and utterly female. It wraps around me, and I take a deep breath without meaning to, filling my lungs with it. She settles in, tugging at the hem of her tunic, but it's a losing battle. The thing was designed for maximum distraction, and it's doing its job with military precision. Her bare legs stretch out, her knee hovering a dangerous, tantalizing inch away from the gear shift. My gear shift, the one I have to grab every 30 seconds. I can feel the heat coming off her skin like a radiator. The AC is blasting on high, rattling in the dash, but a bead of sweat trickles down my temple and stings my eye. Ah, much cooler. She sighs, her voice a little breathless from the climb. She fans her face with one hand, the motion causing the suede of her tunic to pull tight across her chest. Your iron beast has a chilled heart. I just nod. My throat suddenly as dry as the desert outside. I feel like a teenager on his first date. I force my eyes forward, back to the endless ribbon of blacktop, but it's a struggle. My peripheral vision is entirely occupied by her. The intricate lacing on her boots, the way the soft suede of her tunic clings to her ribs when she breathes, the delicate curve of her neck, and those goddamn ears. They're so bizarrely perfect, blending into her hairline like she was born with them. I wonder if they're sensitive. The thought sends a jolt through me. So, I say, trying to sound casual, trying to get my brain back online and my voice to drop back into its normal register. You were at a party? A grand convocation. She corrects me, her eyes bright and alive with the memory. A gathering of champions and crafters in a vast echoing hall, filled with banners and torchlight. We bartered for enchanted goods and shared tales of our quests. A convention, a comic book thing. The pieces click into place with a dull thud of realization. She's a cosplayer, one of them people who spend a fortune and 1,000 hours to look like a video game character. I've seen pictures online, but the reality, sitting right here, smelling like a forest nymph, is a whole different level of weird and, I gotta admit, a whole different level of hot. Right. A convocation, I say, a slow grin spreading across my face. This is ridiculous. It's like a fantasy novel just fell out of the sky and landed in my passenger seat. And these goblins, they messed with your ride. A rival clan, she says, her expression darkening, her brow furrowing adorably. Deceitful rogues who fight with no honor. They disabled our chariot while we slept in our camp. Let the air out of your tires, did they? I ask, taking a shot in the dark. She looks at me, her green eyes wide with genuine astonishment. Her mouth forms a perfect little O. Your perception is uncanny, dwarf lord. How could you have known of such specific treachery? Just an educated guess. I chuckle, jamming the truck into first. The engine growls, a low guttural rumble that vibrates up through the floor and into my bones. The whole cab shudders around us. I wrap my big calloused hand around the knob of the gear shift, ready to pull. As I do, the back of my knuckles brushes against the bare skin of her knee. It's like a lightning strike. A jolt of pure high-voltage electricity shoots up my arm and straight to my groin. Her skin is impossibly soft, impossibly warm, especially compared to the cool, conditioned air. She flinches, a tiny, sharp intake of breath, but she doesn't pull away. Instead, her eyes drop down, watching my hand on the shifter. Her gaze is intense, curious. The whole world slows down. The rattling of the AC fades. The hum of the engine becomes a distant drone. Her gaze is locked on my hand as I shove the stick forward, the gears catching with a satisfying, heavy clunk. The behemoth shudders and begins to roll, slowly gathering momentum. My hand is still there, my knuckles now pressed firmly against her knee. I should move it. I know I should move it. I don't move it. She says, her voice dropping to a low, husky murmur that vibrates right through me, a sound that does things to my insides. What a mighty staff you wield, Ogre King. I damn near drive us off the road and into a cactus. My hand clenches on the shifter. Ogre King? First a dwarf lord, now an Ogre King. I'm moving up in the world. And did she just... I glance at her. She's got this wide-eyed, innocent look on her face, but there's a fire in the back of her eyes, a little flicker of mischief. Oh, she knows. She knows exactly what she just said. This ain't just role-play anymore. This is a whole new game, and I'm suddenly very, very interested in learning the rules. Yeah, well, I managed to croak, my voice about 2 octaves higher than normal. I clear my throat, trying to regain some composure. It's powerful, gets the job done. I can feel its power through the floor, she says, her eyes still on my hand, her voice a purr. The entire mountain trembles when you command it. Oh, my mountain is trembling all right. And it ain't from the engine. I finally pull my hand back, my skin tingling where it touched hers. I grip the steering wheel like it's a life raft. I need to focus on the road, the long, straight, boring road. We drive for a few miles in a silence so thick you could spread it on toast. It's not awkward. It's charged. The air is heavy with her perfume, the lingering desert heat, and 1,000 things we're not saying. The low-frequency vibration of the diesel engine is a constant hum, a bass note that seems to be resonating deep inside my chest, right where she's looking. I keep catching myself glancing over. She's staring out the window at the passing desert, the setting sun painting the sand and scrub brush in shades of orange and gold. But I can see her reflection in the glass. She's watching me. Her eyes are tracking my every move. She's not just looking, she's studying. The way my hands grip the wheel, the way my shoulders tense when I shift gears, the way my jaw clenches when a four-wheeler cuts me off. She's taking it all in. She shifts in the leather seat, the motion making a soft squeaking sound and causing her tunic to ride up another precious agonizing inch. She lets out a long, drawn-out sigh that's pure theater, a sound of manufactured weariness. Alas, she says, her hand going to the empty quiver on her back. She pats it sadly, a little pout forming on her perfect lips. The battle has left my quiver, utterly depleted. She turns her head slowly, deliberately, her jade eyes finding mine. A scout is defenseless without her arrows. I must find an artisan at the next settlement who can refill it for me. I swallow, hard. My Adam's apple feels like a golf ball. The AC might as well be turned off. The cab just became a sauna. The innuendo isn't just flying. It's doing barrel rolls and leaving a smoke trail of pure lust. My heart is pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird trying to get out. This elf, this crazy, beautiful, pointy-eared woman is hitting on me using Dungeons and Dragons talk, and God help me, it's the most effective, most mind-bendingly hot pickup line I've ever heard in my life. I'm sure we can find you a place to restock, I say, my voice raspy, like I've been gargling gravel. My palms are sweating on the steering wheel, leaving damp prints on the worn leather cover. Perhaps, she says, leaning just a little bit closer. The space between us shrinks from a foot to 6 inches. I'm engulfed in her scent. It's intoxicating. But the journey is long, and the tension of the road, it builds in the muscles, it coils in the spirit. In my homeland, we have remedies for such afflictions. We have charms to ease the spirit of a weary warrior. Charms? I ask, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. I feel like I'm in a trance. What kind of charms? A simple cantrip of relaxation, she says, her voice sinking to a conspiratorial whisper that sends shivers down my spine. It requires somatic components, a physical touch to channel the arcane energies from my spirit to yours. She reaches a hand out, her long, elegant fingers hovering in the air between us, pale and graceful in the dimming light of the cab. You seem tense, great ogre. Your shoulders are like granite. May I attempt the casting? Am I tense? I feel like a piano wire that's been tightened 3 turns too far. I can barely get air into my lungs. A charm. She wants to cast a charm on me, a charm that involves touching. The small, sensible part of my brain, the part that handles logistics and avoids serial killers and weirdos, is flashing red lights and sounding klaxons. It's screaming at me to say no, to drop her off at the next gas station and get the hell out of there. But the rest of my body, all 300 pounds of red-blooded American trucker, is giving her a standing ovation and chanting her name. I manage a nod. It's a short, jerky motion, but it gets the message across. Yes. Hell yes. A slow, wicked smile spreads across her lips. It's the smile of a predator that knows its prey is already caught. Excellent. The click of her seatbelt unbuckling is as loud as a gunshot in the confined space of the cab. My eyes go wide. Whoa there, Legolas. Safety first. I'm a professional driver. The incantation requires freedom of movement, she says, like it's the most logical thing in the world. And then she moves, with that same unnerving grace. She turns in her seat, shuffling onto her knees to face me. The cab of a Peterbilt is not built for gymnastics. Her boots are braced against the dashboard, her knees are on the passenger seat, and her entire body is now aimed at me like a loaded weapon. That suede tunic is barely a rumor at this point, clinging and shifting with her every move. Her face is just inches away from mine. I can see the tiny flecks of gold in her green eyes. I can feel the warmth of her breath on my cheek. It smells faintly of mint and something else, something uniquely her. Now, she whispers, her voice a low thrum that vibrates through my skull. Hold perfectly still. The flow of magic must not be broken. She places her hands on my shoulders. Her fingers are cool and slender, a shocking, delightful contrast to the heat of my skin through my sweat-damp t-shirt. They press into the coiled ropes of muscle in my neck and shoulders, kneading, seeking out the knots from 1,000 miles of bad posture and stress. It's not just a massage, it's a reconnaissance mission. Her touch is deliberate, knowing. It's electric. She works her thumbs into the meat of my traps, and I can feel a week's worth of highway stress just begin to melt away under her assault. By the spirits of the road and the dust of the plains, she murmurs, her voice vibrating against my ear, her lips so close they almost touch the lobe. Release this beast from his earthly cage. Let his tension melt like snow in the spring sun. Her thumbs find that spot right at the base of my skull, that nexus of pain and tension, and press down, hard. A groan escapes my throat before I can stop it. It's half pain, half the purest pleasure I've ever felt in my life. My head lolls forward, completely surrendered. My hands are limp on the steering wheel. I'm hers. The truck is practically driving itself down this long, straight stretch of nothing. The charm is taking hold, she whispers, her lips brushing against my earlobe as she speaks. A full-body shiver rocks me, a tremor that has nothing to do with the road. But you carry a powerful curse of tension, a warrior's burden. The cantrip must be amplified. Her hands slide from my shoulders, gliding down my chest, her palms flat against my pounding heart. I can feel their heat right through the cotton of my shirt, a focused, intense warmth. She leans in closer, her silvery hair a curtain around us, tickling my neck and cheek, isolating us from the rest of the world. The cab is filled with the sound of my own ragged breathing, the hum of the engine, and the intoxicating scent of her. "The source of the affliction," she says, her hand moving lower, slower, tracing the line of my sternum, is often coiled deep within the body. Her fingers ghost over my belt buckle, a touch so light it's barely there, but it sets my entire nervous system on fire. A blockage of primal energy, a wellspring that must be untapped. My eyes are squeezed shut. I can't speak. I can't think. This is certifiably insane. This is the craziest, most unbelievable thing that has ever happened to me in 2 million miles of driving this country from coast to coast. And I wouldn't stop it for anything in the world. "I believe," she says, her voice now thick and heavy, like warm honey, dripping with suggestion, that a more consecrated chamber is needed for a ritual of this potency, a place of hidden power, away from the prying eyes of the mundane world. She glances over my shoulder, toward the thick, greasy curtain separating the cab from the sleeper. "Does your mountain fortress have a secret cavern, a den for deeper magic? The cavern of wonders, the dragon's lair, my sleeper cab, my little slice of heaven on the road, with my memory foam mattress that's got a permanent dent in the shape of my body, and my mini fridge full of Dr. Pepper and string cheese, and this elven enchantress, this pointy-eared goddess of the highway, wants to perform deeper magic in it." I finally find my voice. It's a rusty croak, dredged up from the bottom of my lungs. "Yeah," I manage. "Yeah, there's a cavern. Back there." Her smile is pure, unadulterated triumph. It lights up her whole face. "Then pull this beast over, my mighty ogre. The ritual must commence." Finding a gravel pull-off on that dead-empty highway is the easiest, fastest decision I've ever made. The tires crunch on the loose stones, a sound that signals the end of one journey and the beginning of another. The second the truck is stopped and the parking brake is set with a loud psh, I kill the engine. The sudden absolute silence is deafening. The only sounds are the metallic ticking of the cooling engine block and the ragged sound of 2 people breathing in a very small, very hot, very charged space. Without another word, I reach back and yank the privacy curtain aside. The space behind it is dark and cool, a welcome escape from the sun that's been beating down on us. It ain't a cavern, it's a bunk with a 4-foot ceiling and the faint smell of my dirty laundry. But right now, with her eyes burning into me, it feels like a king's tomb, a forbidden temple, a secret sanctuary. "Welcome," I say, my voice a low rumble, getting into the spirit of it, "to the cavern of wonders." She lets out a laugh that sounds like tiny silver bells, a sound of pure, uninhibited delight. It's perfect. Getting from the front seats to the back is a clumsy, tangled mess of limbs. It's a tight squeeze designed for one person to crawl into, not for a 300-pound trucker and a lithe elf to navigate together. I have to half stand, half crawl over the center console, my gut pressing against the dashboard. She's right there with me, a warm, solid presence in the dark. Her hip presses into my side. The hard leather of her belt digs into my back. The bare skin of her arm brushes mine. Every accidental touch is a fresh jolt of lightning, a promise of what's to come. We're bumping and stumbling, a tangle of denim and suede and bare skin. At one point, my hand lands squarely on her ass, and the muscle there is solid, firm, and she just pushes back into my palm for a split second before we keep moving. Finally, we're in the sleeper. I'm sitting on the edge of the mattress, the springs groaning in protest under my weight. She's standing in the tiny space in front of me, her silhouette framed by the dim red glow of the dashboard lights filtering through the gap in the curtain. The air is hot and still and thick with anticipation. The windows are already starting to fog over from our combined body heat and heavy breathing. She puts her hands on her hips, looking down at me. The power dynamic has completely, utterly flipped. Out there on the road, I was the king, the one in control of the giant machine. Back here, in the dark intimacy of my private space, this is her domain. She's the priestess, and I'm the sacrifice. Now, she says, her voice dropping into a tone of quiet, absolute command. The right of taming. You are the great beast of the wild, captured and brought to my sanctum. I am? I ask, my brain feeling like scrambled eggs. I'm just trying to keep up. You are, she confirms, her voice deadly serious, her eyes locked on mine. And I am the elf princess who will soothe your savage spirit. She kneels before me, her knees hitting the worn carpet of the floor with a soft thud. Her face is now level with my waist. She looks up at me through a curtain of silver hair, and the look in her eyes could melt steel. It's a look of hunger and power and pure female confidence. A captured beast must first be disarmed. His earthly bindings must be released. Slowly, with the deliberateness of a priestess at an altar, she reaches for my belt. Her cool, steady fingers wrap around the thick, worn leather. I hold my breath. With a single practiced flick of her wrist, the buckle comes undone with a soft clink. The sound echoes in the small space. Then her fingers are at the button of my jeans, and with another deft movement, it's undone. The breath I was holding escapes in a shaky hiss. This is it. This is happening. I'm in the back of my rig in the middle of the Nevada desert, with a pointy-eared sex goddess who's about to soothe my savage spirit. My life is officially a movie I'd pay to see. She rises in a single, fluid motion, climbing onto the bed to straddle my lap. The mattress screams under our combined weight. She's all heat and muscle and the intoxicating scent of wild jasmine and warm woman. She settles herself on my thighs, her weight a solid grounding presence. Her face is inches from mine, her green eyes glowing in the dark, reflecting the faint red light. The princess must claim her tribute. She whispers, and then her mouth is on mine. It's not a kiss. It's an invasion. It's a conquest. It's a declaration of ownership. Her lips are soft but firm, demanding. A kiss that says, "You belong to me now." My hands come up on instinct, a grabbing her narrow waist, a pulling her down against me until there's no space, no air, nothing left between us. My fingers get tangled in the leather straps of her costume, fumbling with the alien texture. The outside world, the desert, the highway, the setting sun, the load of machine parts waiting in Sacramento. It all just dissolves into nothing. There is only this suffocating heat, this incredible woman, this tiny rocking space. Her tongue sweeps into my mouth, bold and confident, tasting of mint and her. I groan into the kiss, my hands sliding from her waist up her back, feeling the lean muscle under the soft suede. She pulls back, breathless, a triumphant smirk playing on her lips. Her chest is heaving. The beast is stirring. He's been trying to break out of his cage for the last hour. I rasp, and she lets out that tinkling bell-like laugh that makes my toes curl, a sound of pure joy. What happens next isn't a story with a beginning and an end. It's a hurricane of sensation, a blur of motion and heat and whispered fantasy. The roleplay gets deeper, wilder, more intense. I'm her great bear, her mountain giant, her captured ogre king. She's my forest queen, my starlight huntress, my elfin conqueror. It is, without a doubt, the nerdiest, most ridiculous and flat-out hottest thing I have ever done in my entire life. The beast must be fully unburdened, she declares, and with a series of quick, efficient movements, my boots are kicked off, my jeans are shoved down my legs and tossed into a corner, followed by my shirt. I'm lying back on the mattress, a mountain of trucker flesh, completely at her mercy. She stays on top, a warrior queen surveying her conquered territory. The whole cab starts to move, not just a little. The suspension, engineered to handle 80,000 pounds of freight over rough roads, begins to groan and squeak a rhythmic, desperate protest. It's a full-contact wrestling match in the dark, a tangle of sweaty limbs and squeaking leather, and my bare skin against the rough fabric of the mattress. We fog up every last inch of glass, sealing ourselves in our own private steam room, the condensation dripping down the inside of the windshield. The world outside is gone. "The mountain shakes," she cries out, her voice a mix of laughter and raw pleasure, as she moves against me, her hips a powerful, driving force. The entire truck rocks with her rhythm, a slow, heavy, deep groan of steel and hydraulics. The earth is quaking. I manage to get out, my hands gripping the mattress on either side of me, my knuckles white. It's a battle, a glorious, sweaty, primal battle. She's on top, straddling me, her silver hair a wild storm around her head, her face a mask of fierce concentration and ecstasy. Her thighs are like iron bands on either side of my hips, her strength undeniable. The squeak of her leather boots against the wall, the groan of the mattress springs, the low rhythmic rocking of the entire rig becomes the soundtrack to our own private apocalypse. I can feel the truck shifting on its tires, a heavy lurching motion that matches the one happening inside. If another trucker drove past, he'd think I was having a seizure or trying to shake a hornet's nest out of my grill. The heat is unbelievable. It's a wet, oppressive heat. The air so thick with our sweat and breath it feels like you could swim in it. The windows are completely white with condensation, water trickling in little rivers down the glass. We're sealed in our own world, a hot, dark, rocking, groaning world. The beast roars. She pants, her head thrown back, and I do, a low guttural sound torn from the bottom of my lungs that's pure animal release. The rhythm gets faster, more frantic. The rocking of the truck becomes more violent. The suspension is screaming now, a high-pitched metallic shriek with every powerful downward thrust. It's a full-on earthquake contained in a Peterbilt cab. We're a tangle of colliding bodies, of sweat-slick skin, and whispered crazy words. It's the taming of the beast, and the beast is loving every damn second of it. The climax is a tectonic event, a seismic shockwave that sends the truck into one last violent shudder before everything goes quiet, the suspension giving one final exhausted sigh. Later, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 2 hours, time has ceased to have any meaning. We're a heap of boneless, breathless limbs on the rumpled, sweat-soaked mattress. The sun has finally dipped below the horizon, painting the inside of the cab in deep shades of purple and orange that filter through the steamy windows. We're both slick with sweat, the air thick and heavy with the smell of us, a primal, musky scent that has completely overpowered her perfume. The engine is silent. The world is still. She's lying with her head on my chest, which is rising and falling like a broken-down accordion. One of her pointy ears is tickling my chin. Her breathing is slow and even, a soft puff of air against my damp skin. Her weight is a comforting, heavy blanket on top of me. The beast, she whispers, her voice husky and satisfied, has been soothed. I let out a weak, shaky chuckle that hurts my ribs. Soothed? Sweetheart, I think you broke him. He may need a full factory reset. She lifts her head and grins down at me, her eyes sparkling in the gloom. Her hair is a wild mess, a silver halo around her flushed face. There's a smudge of my grease on her cheek, and she looks absolutely glorious. He'll recover. Beasts of your magnitude are resilient. She begins to untangle herself from me, and the spell starts to break. The real world, with its schedules and its destinations, comes creeping back in. She has to go. I have a load of machine parts that need to get to Sacramento by morning. She gets dressed with a quick, no-nonsense efficiency that's almost startling. The suede tunic is pulled on. The belt is cinched. The boots are laced up in seconds. It's like watching a soldier get her gear on. Just like that, she's the elf scout again, maybe a little flushed, her hair a little wilder, but ready for battle. I'm still lying in the back, feeling dazed and completely spent, like I just ran a marathon while carrying a transmission. My muscles ache in ways I didn't know they could. She leans over the bunk, her silver hair falling around her face, framing it in the dim light. Thank you for the transport, Ogre King Sam. Anytime, Princess Luna, I say, my voice still raw. The Cavern of Wonders is always open for rituals. She leans in and gives me one last soft kiss. It's sweet, a little sad, and very final. A goodbye kiss. Before I depart, she says, reaching into the small leather pouch on her belt, a token, a ward, to protect you on your travels, to ward off highway wraiths and truck stop gargoyles. She presses something cool and plastic into my palm. I look down, squinting in the faint light. It's a cheap-looking necklace, a big blue multifaceted plastic gem on a black cord. Yeah, the kind of thing you'd get out of a gumball machine for 50 cents, or win at a carnival for knocking over 3 milk jugs. It is an amulet of safe passage, she says, with a perfectly straight face, her voice filled with ancient gravity, a powerful artifact from the crystal caves of Eldoria. Guard it well. And with that, she slips through the curtain, climbs out of the cab with that same athletic grace, and gives me one last regal wave. Then she turns and starts walking toward the faint glow of a town on the horizon, a tiny pinprick of light in the vast darkness. I watch her go, a little green silhouette against the purple twilight, until she disappears over a rise. I'm alone again in my rig. The cab smells like her perfume and our sweat. The windows are still opaque with condensation. I'm exhausted. I'm sore as hell, and I have a grin on my face that's so wide it hurts. I look at the ridiculous plastic amulet in my hand. An amulet of safe passage. I let out a loud, booming laugh that echoes in the silent cab, a sound of pure, unadulterated joy. Slowly, painfully, I haul my aching body back into the driver's seat. I have to use the sleeve of my shirt to wipe a circle in the fog on the windshield just to see out. I fire up the engine, and the behemoth roars back to life, its headlights cutting 2 perfect cones through the absolute darkness of the desert night. Before I pull back onto the highway, I take the cheap cord and loop the amulet over my rearview mirror. It dangles there, swinging back and forth next to my pine tree air freshener, the plastic gem catching the red and green lights from my dashboard. As I merge back into traffic, the little blue gem dances in front of my eyes. I'm tired. I'm hungry as hell, but not for a burger anymore. But I've got a full tank of gas, a long night of driving ahead, and a magic amulet to protect me from gargoyles. And I can't help but think, best damn comic book convention ever.